was just telling them about you, Anuja. So the reason I thought this is going to be a very casual chat, and the reason we are doing this is when I had a chat with Anuja, there was an eye opener. There were things. Hi, Sumisha. There were things that I could take home from the discussion with her. I would also admit, Anuja, I did change a lot of the way I talk to the kids after I spoke to you, because it was there were some things you said. Anuja, people are saying you're frozen. Is there some better network you could go into?
Okay,
It's fine now.
Is it better now? Because it's breaking up for me too. Let me join again. Let me join again.
Yes, that would be nice. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about the importance of sexuality education. Y'all can pour in your questions here too, because I know I every time we as friends sit, me and my other moms, this is a very common topic of discussion of how do we protect them without really putting it out there. How do we protect them? And at the same time give them the important the details that they need to be given. What is the right age? When should we talk about it? Oh, mine is pixelated too. All right, let me just try and get this done. Thanks, Vinny, for the update. I'm just shifting.
Is this better?
Is it better? Maybe. Can you all see us now? Can you all see us now?
I'm sorry, I really apologize for, I'm out in the mountains and there's very low connectivity. Can you maybe even hear some background noise of crickets and insects? So that's...
The crickets and insects are, I'm sure we, in the lockdown, we'll be loving the noise of the crickets and the insects.
I really hope this is better, because it's better for me. Can you hear me? Correct? Like, is this okay?
Yeah. So Vinny's saying it's better now for both of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's get on this, yeah? Because let's hear it from the horses now. How did the circle of safety come across? What did you do on it? Tell us more about it.
Okay, so just to tell you a bit more about Circles of Safety, well, I founded it in 2015, where essentially the goal was to sensitize the community on preventing child sexual abuse, because I came across a government study which painted such a grim picture of the abuse that children were experiencing. So it said that 1 in 2 children experience child sexual abuse before they turn 18 years. And that's crazy, in India, to hear such things. And then it also said that 2 out of 3 children face physical abuse, and every other child faces emotional neglect. And just basically they call it emotional abuse. And for that, 83% of the perpetrators are parents. So I thought, what, we really need to, get the community more educated on this. This was also further fueled by my own childhood experiences. I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. And then I thought, I really need to talk about this. And that's how really Circles of Safety was born. After conducting various workshops with parents and educators in schools, I figured that early intervention was one of the only ways, through sexuality education, was one of the only ways to nip this in the bud, to address it and shift this culture of shame and fear and taboo and this whole silence around this. They call it the silent epidemic for a reason, right? Because people don't talk about it, especially when it's incest and when it happens in the family. So that's how Circles of Safety was born. And essentially, I last year developed a comprehensive sexuality education curriculum from grade 1 to grade 12. Because I feel that people are still not ready to cater to it in a holistic manner. And so this would include everything, right? From puberty to gender, bullying, healthy relationships, you name it. We've all been through our teenage years and all the issues we face. It will address all of that. So that's essentially the goal of the curriculum, to normalize sexuality, that it's a natural, normal part of growing up. And it's not abnormal to be curious, really. And also to promote respect and diversity, because I think we're getting intolerant. And we really need to respect that diversity. So that's the aim of the curriculum. That's what we do, apart from all the workshops on sensitizing the community on child sexual abuse.
So, but Anuja, when you say we educate the kids with this curriculum, don't you think the problem lies first in the elders of accepting that yes, this happens, yes, it happens in our own families? Don't you think the problem lies there first?
Absolutely.
How do we tackle
Absolutely.
that?
I think so. That's where also the name Circles of Safety comes in, because I strongly believe that it is the circles around the child that first need to be strengthened, need to be educated, need to be empowered, and then we shift to the child, really, right? So, to sort of answer your question, that yes, I think we need to, because when a child goes up to the parent or goes up to another elder and says this has happened, we don't like it, but most of the times the response is to say, shh, don't tell anyone about it. That is the community response. There is so much of victim shaming. And so that is really something that we're trying to target. I also firmly believe that when we become parents or when we become responsible for a child, either as an educator or a guardian or a caregiver, we sort of forget what it was like to grow up. We forget that we have been confused, we have been reckless, we have been curious, and we cling on to this parenting hat so tightly, and I don't know why we treat it so intensely. And if we were to just loosen the reins a bit, what is the worst that could happen? I'm just wondering, what is the worst that could happen? Maybe next time they will feel more comfortable and they will come and talk to you about something. Nidhi, I just want to give you a scenario. Suppose you catch your child watching porn. What are you going to do? How are you going to react? We've all grown up. We've all been...
I don't want to freak me out.
Yeah, I understand if it would freak somebody out. Absolutely. But I think that those are the times when we need to get in touch with our childhood adolescent self, that we are curious. We got information. We were not on the receiving end of any of this information, right? We got it from our friends, from random sources, And so I would say something as simple as this. What if you were to say, hey, you know what? I've been there, done that. And, even I was curious, but I'm so glad that I later found out that this is probably the most unhealthy way to portray a sexual relationship, or that I'm so glad that real intimacy doesn't look like this, If we were to just talk like that.
It's lovely to hear that you would, the way you look at it, it's lovely to hear it, but there's an entire shift of an entire thought process here that we're talking about.
Exactly.
Right?
Which is where the workshops help, which is where we try and get you in touch with and reflect on your own experiences, right? And so all I'm trying to say here is, what is the goal of all of this? Just try and keep the end goal in mind, that your child is geared for one of the most confusing, vulnerable time of their life, right? And what do they need that time? They need a non-judgmental ear. They need somebody who will support them, who will understand them. I'm not saying be their friend. Please understand that. I'm not a proponent of parents are friends. Not at all, because I feel there are plenty of friends and there's only one set of parents, right? So I'm not saying that. But that doesn't mean that we can't empathize, that we can't understand where they're coming from. That's all I'm saying. Listen. Guide them to better resources. Grab a book maybe and say, hey, what do you think about this? So those sort of things. Just, I think first educate yourself. Lead by example. I think I cannot stress that enough, because I've heard parents say, आजकल के बच्चे, sorry, I'm saying it in Hindi, but like basically today's kids, they're so worried about social media and their image. And I see moms being so worried about and dads being so worried about their followers and their views. And then you're thinking that it won't go down to your child. That just, it doesn't make sense, because sexuality is every aspect of it. Like the food we put on our plate, are we going on a keto diet, or are we like just eating healthy stuff and saying, hey, my goal is to be healthy? Where are you coming from? All this is guided by body image, sexuality. It's everywhere. There's no escaping it. And so if you lead by example, then I think it really makes things very simple.
But then, what is the right age? Like you said, social media. Now that is a very point for, I think, all the moms, whether moms of boys or moms of girls. It's a very point of when is the right time to let them take that phone in their hand or that tab in their hand. What you
Okay, so I get your question. You're breaking. Okay. So Nidhi, I have a very simple answer for this, okay, which then I will explain further. When you say what is the right age to educate them, it has to start early, okay? Think about it like this. If you think that your child is going to be holding a phone when they're a teenager, okay, whenever they hold the phone, there are several messages and steps that need to go on before that phone gets in their hand. They have to know about consent. They have to know about boundaries. They have to know about online safety. They have to know about, I'll just give you an example. I'm sure some of you have heard about the boys locker room episode that happened with elite schools and these children in Delhi, where they were sharing pictures on Snapchat and Instagram of girls, younger girls in their class or other classes without their consent. And the comments, the derogatory comments around rape and just their attitude, all of that. To avoid all that, the conversations have to start early. So I say, and a lot of people freak out when I say this, okay, so brace up. I say that when the child can start talking is when you can start giving messages. It can be as simple as using the correct names of genitals. It can be as simple as, when you tell your child to share their toys, etc. It's just simple ways of talking about consent. Also acknowledging how your child feels, helping them empathize, getting in touch with their own feelings and getting them to empathize with other people's feelings, boundaries. These are very simple ways when you're starting early. And then if your child is a little older, it can, I think, I remember that there was a fifth grader child once when I was talking to them about sexuality education and puberty. Fifth grader said, this weekend I saw Kapoors and Sons with my family. And what is this whole homosexuality? I just didn't understand. Nobody was willing to talk to me about it. So they're exposed to this, and then they will go to some other source that doesn't actually give them reliable, accurate, age in appropriate information. So I say, be the one for them to fill in these gaps, right? You be the one to make this happen for them. And so I say, start early. If you're watching a movie with them, if you're watching, say, TV and there's an ad of, menstrual pads, sanitary pads, and you see a blue liquid, and if something comes up, you can say it's not like that. Debunk these things. If you're watching a movie, I remember growing up, we've all been greatly influenced by Yash Raj films, and I remember in this one, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Kajol is shown as this tomboy, and that time she doesn't seem like ideal marriage material. And then just when she's turning into this epitome of an Indian woman with long hair and a puja thali in her hands and, dancing to classical Indian beats, then all of a sudden her old flame comes rushing back to her. I mean, what are we telling our girls? That is this the mold you have to fit in? So I'm just saying that they are like sponges.
That's a lovely thought. Yeah.
right? Like they're like
Yeah.
sponges.
Never thought of it that way.
That they're taking everything in. So all I'm saying is use these teachable moments, debunk as and when. I'm not saying make it too serious, you know. Sometimes it's great to ask them a question. What do you look for in a partner, or what do you think makes a healthy relationship? It can even be a friendship, it doesn't have to be dating. So I find out where they are getting their notions, what is influencing them. And then when that happens, slowly, you'll form a bond, you'll have like a rapport with them, and then hopefully you can build on that.
Right. Yeah. This, like I said, these are thoughts that will take time to absorb, but they're actually at least opening the mind to a lot of things that we've grown up with.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to accept that, okay, no, Bollywood is debunk it. Like you said, debunking is very important for the next generation, for the first stage of getting them to understand things. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Anuja?
now I can. Now I can.
Yeah. Okay, so what, according to you, is the right resources? What kind of resources can parents use to try and explain things to kids?
Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you for bringing that up. I think there are several good resources available for sexuality education. My go to resource, especially when I want to explain things to children, is amaze.org, AMAZE.org. I'll also write it down in our chat or something after the talk. I think they do some fantastic videos. Yeah.
Okay.
So they do some fantastic videos on all aspects, to be honest, like right from puberty to, and puberty for boys and girls. I think sometimes we focus a lot just on girls and we neglect boys. So I feel like this is a fantastic resource also for the boys. Then another one that I highly recommend for the Indian context is the Menstrupedia comic book. That's for the girls. It will really tell them more about puberty, health, hygiene, etc.
And Menstrupedia
Comic. I will send
I'm going to put
note.
all these down. It would be great if you could share these with us too.
I will. I will.
On one-time posters, yeah, because this could be great for all the moms who have the same
I will.
questions
And
you and me do.
Personally, I also keep the Tarshi set of books very handy. I love how there is a yellow book, there's an orange book, there's a blue book, and there's a red book. Yellow book is for educating parents on sexuality education. So, they acknowledge that it can be confusing, it can be embarrassing for many, all of that. So that's a lovely book for parents and how to go about educating children. And the red book is for children between 9 and 15 years. And then the blue book is for 15 years and above, so that the children can read themselves. And I think that's a fantastic gift to give your child in their teenage years.
I think I'm going to make a post of this. For all these books that you're saying,
sure.
I'll put it up in the story so that we all have access to it, even the ones who are interested and who've not joined and are going to watch this video. And have access to all the things.
And lastly, I would say that we are here, Circles of Safety, for any questions you may have, for any real life situations that you're facing, you don't know how to handle it. We also do workshops for parents and for educators. There is also a curriculum. So if you are an educator yourself, or you're a parent or a caregiver, and you feel that you want to push this in your own school, then I would highly recommend you to introduce your school to us and suggest that if you want to do a workshop, we can do something for you for sure. So reach out to us, direct message us on Instagram, or email us on info@circlesofsafety.com.
All right. Yes, Shikha, I'm going to do a post of all this, all the sources that she mentioned, because trust me, as we talk, Anuja, believe you me, the only problem that I've always had, of course, there have been some videos that have floated on social media of the good touch and the bad touch, but there is not enough content on like we spoke about the resources. There's not enough content on what we parents should, go to when we want to explain a certain thing to the children.
I
So
absolutely agree.
definitely need those sources from you.
Yes, I will
And
surely
yes,
share
guys,
them.
as she mentioned, the circles of safety. They are active on Instagram. They are active on Facebook. You have questions about how to break this to your kid, how you should approach it, or you want to organize a workshop in your community, in your schools. These are the people. In fact, I'm already in talks with the school my kids go to.
Oh, great!
For a curriculum like this, because it is the need of the hour. We both agree, and I'm sure all the moms here agree on one thing, that our kids are never safe. They are never safe because of the lack of education in our country. So the least we can do is at least educate ourselves and our kids, and not wait for the entire society to change.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Resources, Sonali, Anuja is asking, are there any resources that she could access for good touch and bad touch?
So first, can I it's just a pet peeve that I have when people say good touch and bad touch. I just want to clarify that it would be easier to call it safe and unsafe touch, because what sexuality education, and that's why I'm bringing up the nuance, is that
sorry, can you repeat that? You broke for a minute.
Oh, sorry. I said I have a bit of a pet peeve when we talk about good touch and bad touch. I really just want to correct and just add a nuance, because it's related to sexuality education, that when we say good and bad touch, what we are essentially saying is that all bad touch should feel bad. But think about this. When we talk about child sexual abuse, all bad touch doesn't necessarily feel bad, because physiologically our body is made to respond to touch. And so if during abuse, if our body does respond in a pleasurable way, in any positive way, it puts so much guilt and shame on the child that they will feel like they brought this on, that they were complicit in it, and they will never talk about it. So I highly recommend that you shift to the terminology of safe and unsafe touch. And you can also introduce confusing touch if you want to, and introduce examples. The books that I mentioned, the Tarshi set of books, also talks about this. Okay, so Tarshi set of, like the yellow book and the blue book and the red book, have a chapter on abuse, where they talk about types of touch. They have chapters on relationships, on dating for the older children, right from contraceptives to online safety, everything. So I recommend that you have a look at that. And our curriculum obviously also touches on all these aspects. So, yeah.
But now that Sonali's put this out, I actually agree with her. There's only these videos floating around of good touch and bad touch. Confusing touch is something new for me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting because.
So can I give you an example?
There is a confusing touch.
Sorry, can I give you an example of confusing touch, just so that I'm clear what I mean?
Please.
So when we say safe touch, okay, maybe holding your child close, reading them a book before they go to sleep, that may be safe touch for them. You can give that as an example, right? Unsafe would be maybe if they're walking too close to the ledge and they can fall down, or crossing the road on a busy traffic road, whatever, that can be unsafe. And then what about confusing touch? Confusing touch would be, what if your uncle is visiting you, or somebody, your family member, is asking you to sit on their lap and they're tickling you and something just doesn't feel right. But you know what? They're a trusted person in your family. They're a family member. So there is that sense of, I don't like this, but I love this person. So what is happening?
Right.
That sense of confusion is not addressed in good and bad. Please tell me, where is that addressed? Because it's not bad touch, and the child will think bad meaning, have they touched my genitals, or have they. It doesn't necessarily go to that point. Then what do you do? How do you give them a bit of like a barometer for everything that's happening in between? because maybe
Right.
when it reaches that point, it's already too late.
Right. Right. So how do you handle that?
So how I handle what? So that's where you introduce this confusing touch.
Right.
That's
Okay.
where you can tell them about that. You can, I mean, there are many body safety rules, and that generally comes in my other thing, but I can quickly tell you that you can introduce these body safety rules where you can tell them that any touch, any form of showing physical affection, you're not obligated to do it. You sometimes I've told my children when they are uncomfortable, I've told them that it's important to respect our elders or to respect the other person, acknowledge their presence, but it doesn't have to be done through physical touch. So I give them options like maybe hi-fi or namaste, or touch their feet if it's really somebody elder. We come up with options so that they feel comfortable. And I think that's a good way of showing the child that you will respect their boundaries, and so everyone must respect their boundaries, and they will never be obligated to show love or respect or affection physically. They should never feel obligated.
Okay, let me repeat this because there was a little break. What Anuja is trying to tell us is even in our own families, we should not be obligating our kids to have a handshake or a hug if it does not make them comfortable. Am I right, Anuja?
Yes, basically, very early on,
We need to liberate them.
Very early on, you're teaching them about consent. People often misunderstand thinking consent is for sexual relationships, but I'm saying consent starts early. It starts at all ages, right? And so these are simple ways of reaffirming their boundaries, and I think we can start doing it early. And this is again part of sexuality education, which people don't talk about because unfortunately we have grown up with these vague, blurry, anatomically accurate figures of what our reproductive parts look like.
Absolutely.
And
it has been so normal in an Indian family कि आंटी को हक करो,
yeah,
अंकल को हक करो, अंकल बुला रहे जाके गोदी में बैठो. Why don't we let the child decide what the child wants to do or whether he's comfortable doing that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple of things that we have understood from today's discussion is one, the consent. Two, the debunking. The debunking is imperative because there's a lot of damage done with the kind of content out there that our kids are exposed to. So if we debunk it in time, then we don't have to wait for them to learn it the hard way. And third, and the most important, which I'm getting again a lot of messages for, Anuja, is the resources that you spoke about.
Sure.
It would be great if you could share those with us, because I'm sure all the moms here, including me, can't wait to get my hands on those.
I will surely share them.
Chifu, like you said in the last line,
just on the resources, I forgot to mention a very important point. Okay, this is so me. That we also do big book reviews on our Circles of Safety page. So please follow us on Circles of Safety on Instagram and on Facebook, because what I do is that we build ongoing educative sort of material, simple strategies, things you can do with your children. We have Mythbusters. We talk about every Thursdays we have this walk the talk where we talk about things you can implement. I don't want it to just be theory. So this is something we do regularly. So you follow us. We also do book reviews. I plan to do many more soon. So you will get an idea of which books you're comfortable with. When we talk about resources, one of the first things I want to highlight is I use this. I go through the book first. I look at how comfortable I am with those concepts, because if I just hand it to my child and they ask me something I'm uncomfortable with, even I have to be ready. I do not, under any circumstances, want to pass on my anxiety. I do not want to pass on any stigma. I don't want to pass on any embarrassment, those awkward silences. Instead, I want to be able to say, hey, that's a great question. And why don't we get to this book and let's read it together. Or, I would love to be better informed. And can we talk about this tomorrow? Do you think you can hang on to this question for a bit? So having these sort of conversations is the goal.
Wow. You know what? I'm also going to, Anuja, if you could also, send us a video later on of all these few little pointers that could help us on a regular basis. I will put it up and I will also tag Circles of Safety.
Okay.
So people, know what we are talking about here.
Sure.
Because there has been a little level of distortion in our video today.
I'm so
which
sorry.
I'm sure would. No, that's okay. It's fine because this is a very important discussion that doesn't end here. It's not a one-timer. It's something that needs to go on.
Thank you for saying that. That's the other thing I want to say when you said as parents. I just want to put it out there that we often hear about this growing up. We've heard of it as the birds and the bees talk and the talk, and we wait for our child to maybe hit puberty and then we say, hey, sit down and talk. Well, as I hope I've made it abundantly clear that it's an ongoing dialogue that happens much before the child actually reaches that stage. And then the complexities of sexuality can be introduced at that stage, right? In terms of the talks, I'm happy to send you a video with the points, but I already have 5 different talks available. Where I've spoken about 10 body safety rules that every child must know. It talks about these things about child sexual abuse and how the same rules apply even for known people, about safe, unsafe touch and not good and bad. All this is covered in my talks. So I will encourage you to please look at that. Yeah, and if there is anything particularly that you want me to address, I'll be more than happy to create a video that maybe touches on a nuance of the topic. Right?
Sounds
and
great.
We can do that.
So guys, shoot her questions at any point you'll have. Her page is open. You can go look at the videos. There's a lot of good content. And I can say that because I have taken few points home that I'm using with my kids right now, especially after my last chat with her. So thank you, Anuja, for being such an eye-opener.
I'm so happy to be here.
Come back to you when you're back from the mountains and we can have a chat once again. And if I get many, I already have a lot of people here who are, sending me DMs. I'm going to send those questions across to you, and you could answer them for them. And I'll also direct them onto your page.
If there's anything here that we can answer so that more people can benefit from it, please shoot questions. Please shoot.
All right. Okay. Any questions, guys? Anything that I can address? We can address right now. There were people who were there. I think the connectivity has also been a issue today. Hi, Bianca. Hi. I'm sorry. I'm answering that later. Okay. Yeah, I think for now, mainly there have been questions on the resources, and there have been questions on Chinmay here says that it's been the one thing that she's really gained from today's discussion is about Thank you, Anuja and Nidhi. The sources of information and teaching have never been touched before. We as parents also need some training in order to speak to the kids.
Yeah.
Great session. Thank you, Shikha. Yeah. That's the reason we need to do such things more often.
And so, Nidhi, if you have enough parents that you who want a training session, then I'm happy to do like an exclusive session for Magical Mundane Life. We can do a workshop on Zoom or something like that with your set of parents. So if they want to write to you or they want to write to us, then we can even do something for them. I'd be more than happy to do something like that.
Great. Let me just get back on this and try to see if I'm sure I would love a session like that. And if there are enough people, I'll loop you in and we will talk more about what could be the right ways to talk to kids about certain issues. Chinmay, she spoke about how it was very important. There are books that address the issues and simplified for children. Nitisha, you're asking, are there any children's books that address these issues and simplified? So Nitisha,
there are
going to be sending us a list. Yeah. Sorry, Anuja,
I've done a book review on one of the books called Amazing You. It's by Dr. Gail Saltz. So look on my page. There's a book review of that book. I'm just putting it out there. It's for kids 2 years and up. So I think I love it. I absolutely love it. But a lot of parents get scandalized because they're using the right names of body parts, and that's exactly what I feel how it should be. So look at it yourself, see how it works for you, and I will write down the resources and share.
Okay. Everyone else is just thanking you, Anuja.
Thank you
for
so
coming on
much,
and talking
Nidhi,
about
for having me.
Yes, and thank you for existing. Thank you for making things like these so important. We've been putting them under the carpet for too long. High time we don't put them under the carpet anymore.
I
bring it out and say,
absolutely agree. It reminds me of this one quote that Stephen Colbert on his talk show, the American talk show host, he said something amazing about comprehensive sexuality education. If I can just read that, he said there is no way we would allow any other academic program to consistently fail to prepare students for life after school. Here is the thing. Human sexuality, unlike calculus, is something we need to know about for the rest of our life, right? So let's just get it right. I mean, how can we let it fail our children for so many years? So I think it's on us. The government is taking certain, steps. I think in Pune, they're going to start introducing holistic sexuality education. Chandigarh, there's another project on. So there are things that the government is trying to do. But I think till we don't demand it and till we don't, it has to start with us. So I'm just saying, write to us. Let's do workshops. We want to help you. So just, be open to it. And we are here.
We're going to end this year for sure. We're definitely taking this ahead.
Yeah.
Because as moms, we owe it to those little lives we brought into the world.
Yeah.
And we will do our best to that. Yeah. So thank you, Anuja.
Thank you.
I'll wait for the list from you, and we will have a chat very soon ahead again on this issue together. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening in. It was lovely, Nidhi.
Guys, thank you everyone. Thank you. I'm going to put this video out there if you guys want to watch it later and have any more of her little pearls that could help us. Thanks. Thanks, Anuja.
Thank you.
Nice
Bye.
chatting, yeah. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.